Hey, welcome back to my messy kitchen. I realized as putting this on, I'm wearing the same thing I did last time. I promised I showered. I did wash this. But like I like wearing this because it's cold out, but like I don't want to get like the sleeves messy. I wanted to add that because I just think it's amusing, but I'm not going to change. So today, another Korean cooking recipe. It's going to be Sundubu. It's spicy soft tofu stew. It's one of my favorite stews I've made, especially Korean food. I would say this or Filipino soup. Sinigang is probably my favorite soups ever. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to show you kind of like what I've done. A lot of this stuff is seafood based. You got prawns, clams, kind of like whatever you want. I'm allergic to all shellfish, so this is going to be a non-seafood base because like in the link in the description, it's going to show you like all of this other seafood stuff, and you can totally do that. I just don't want to get anaphylaxis, so I don't do that. As this last video with the dokbuki, this is also, wow, I'm totally blanking. My Korean Kitchen is this, I don't want to say sponsor, but the creation of this recipe. I do not take any credit. I found this recipe. She does amazing recipes. I'm going to put the link in the description as I was talking about with the seafood. I kind of added my own stuff. I like to add a little bit of kimchi because I love kimchi. I add my own pork or like the pork shoulder, some kind of like small little dumplings, onions, and mushrooms you can get at the store because like I don't have access to kind of like enoki mushrooms and the other stuff that could be vegetables, like Korean vegetables. So without me rambling anymore, let's get started. So this is the anchovy kelp broth that I made in dokboki. This is pretty much the same thing as last time. This is going to be the soup base, gives it that kind of fishy flavor and adds a little bit of saltiness, but not too much. I added 2 of these, so 16 grams of the anchovy, and then 6 grams of the kelp, and that is in 3.5 cups of water. I just thought I would add that just to prove that I did do it. So I thought I'd give you guys a different camera angle because last time it was actually difficult to try and have this tripod here and also cook. I don't get any comments really, so just let me know what you guys think, but it's going to be awesome otherwise. So right now, for step 1, it's going to be 2 grams, or 2 grams, 2 tablespoons of chili oil. I kind of made my own chili oil because, like I said, there's no real Asian markets in the area I'm at. So I kind of had to just like Google a recipe. It's essentially canola oil and red pepper flakes. You kind of just boil it so it releases some of the heat. It's not too spicy, but it just creates a little bit of a spice. And the staple to this recipe, this is one you really can't replace. This is the gochujang. This is the red pepper flakes. I love this. It's a staple. If you get this and you start cooking with me, it's going to be a lot of recipes in it. That's made no sense. There's a lot of recipes that has this in it, so I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of it. Right, like any good recipe, you need a little bit of garlic. So I want to mix it around because, as it says in the recipe, you don't want to burn the pepper, but you want to kind of mix it around. It's going to kind of give it the coating. This is going to create the heat, but like I said, it's not too much. I like spice. I'm not like crazy with my spice, but I do like it. I do think this has like a nice warm heat to it, but it's not in your face at the same time. So I added some small dumplings here. They add a little bit of flavor, and since I can't do the seafood, I thought I would do some other things. And here, they're really delicious. You can get them at any local H Mart. And this is just like kind of an arbitrary amount. I just add like what I think. Pretty much like a, if you want to get specific, maybe like a 2/3 of a cup of kimchi. As I said, I did burn it a little bit. This happens. It's not the end of the world. But kind of give the dumplings and the kimchi a little flavor. I add a tablespoon of soy sauce and a tablespoon of fish sauce. Mix that around a little bit. Trying to think of some good cooking phrases like release the flavor, but I have nothing, so just kind of letting that soak in a little bit. We're supposed to wait like a minute or two. And add the base. And so I added the broth. I put it to medium heat. It's gonna let it boil, and then that's when I add the veggies. And then, in the meantime, as promised, there's one dog, Hanya, and then the other dog walking away because he knows. Just waiting for the scraps. No, I gotta wait for it to boil and then I add a bunch of stuff. Alright, it's starting to boil, so I'm gonna start adding everything. This is the pork shoulder. Just a fourth of an onion because I didn't want to add too much to overpower it because it's not in the recipe. It's the first time I'm doing it. Washed mushrooms. Because you're supposed to have enoki mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms, but I just did a bunch of those. And then silken tofu. I know there's firm tofu at like the local markets, but this really is the best type of tofu. I'm not trying to be pretentious about it. It just tastes so much better on it because I tried the firm tofu and it's just not as good in this. It'll do if you have to, but if you can't get it, I would recommend the silken. Just breaking it up a little bit and then gonna let it sit for a couple minutes. Getting all the scraps? It's my other dog. There wasn't anything good, so he left. You wanna try it?
You already done?
I know, I feel like I'm missing a step, but I don't know, it tastes pretty good. Alright, it's starting to boil. Looks good. I'm about to taste it. Yeah, it's incredible. I'm just gonna crack 2 eggs. Looks delicious. There's not a ton of tofu, which is a little disappointing, but I just didn't have a lot, and I'm trying to use it sparingly. But that doesn't take away the taste. It's just like, it's a spicy tofu dish. So I usually like to have more tofu. So when you guys make it, even though we all know it's not gonna happen, you can add more. Adding a little bit of cooked rice as the base. You can put it on the side, but I like when the rice soaks in the broth. It tastes amazing. Am I in the picture? All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. It's steaming. You see the pork on top. You see the kimchi cabbage right there. I'm gonna add a little bit more broth, but you can see the base right there. Nice and red, just how we like it. A little spicy, but not too much. I can't wait to eat it. All right, I listened to your comments. I showed you the final product. Very excited to eat it. Like I said, I'm not going to show you just because I don't want to. And in the meantime, the next one's probably going to be a book review. I'm going to kind of bounce around, maybe show you my dogs. I showed you a little bit today, but just stay tuned. In the meantime, just hit the like and subscribe button. I'm only like 950 followers away from making money, so I'm like almost there.